Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can. Just to be out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right into the video. The Boston Celtics lost to the Toronto Raptors on the road 110-97, and the defense just was not connected at all, and I wanted to take a look, so let's get into the film. All right, how y'all doing? I hope y'all doing good. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, make sure you take your shoes off before you come to the house. And, of course, everyone knows that the Celtics have been struggling for quite a while now, but specifically in their last 14 games, the Celtics are 7-7. And it's been a long time since we've had a stretch like that, and there are a lot of things wrong, but today I'm focusing on defense. And in the month of January, which is only 7 games, so their last 7 games, the Celtics have their worst defensive rating this month at 114.4. Just to show the rest of the January stats, they have their lowest offensive rating, which of course plays into the defense, and the craziest number of all is the overall net rating. The Celtics have not only had a positive net rating every other month, but the net rating was at least 10. The highest was 11.6 in October. Right now, the Celtics in January have a negative 0.6 net rating. The team that used to crush everybody in net rating, especially the starting 5, they just aren't playing like that right now. And of course, there's a lot of things that go into that again, but right now we're just focused on the defense. So what the Celtics lacked in this game was communication. They lacked urgency, and I guess I would say communication is the biggest thing, but there are some times where that I'm looking at these plays and it's making me question if there is a game plan. Now, I don't question that Joe Mazzulla created a game plan. But they aren't executing it, so that's where my thing to Joe Mazzulla comes from. But the players have to play better. So here, this one was like I was struggling to see whether I should put this one in there. So Drew is gonna help on Scottie Barnes' drive, right? If you strategically leave Davion Mitchell, that is fine. He shoots to 33%. The Celtics are known for just leaving guys that they want to shoot. But I didn't feel like this was a strategic leave. I felt that Drew didn't have to come all the way over there. Derek White and Porzingis have Scottie Barnes exactly where they want him. Drew leaves him, turns his back on the player, and lets him shoot, right? Again, this is Davion Mitchell. He shoots 30% from the 3. We could let him shoot. I just thought this was bad defense IQ. You can let me know if you disagree, but I promise you the clips after this are way more convincing. In my initial reaction to this game, I'll put that somewhere so you can watch it if you haven't seen it. I said that the Celtics lack pressure on both sides of the ball. On offense, they aren't putting the same amount of pressure on teams when they drive and force rotations and get the good process threes and stuff like that. But on defense, I couldn't recall the last time someone other than Peyton Pritchard picked up full court. Obviously, I don't know ball because JB is doing that right now. But Jalen was not good defensively in this game. In this game, I would say it's a mental thing for everybody, not just Jaylen Brown, because there was no communication. Again, like I said, Jaylen Brown does a good thing, which I only seen one time in this game. Jaylen Brown does a good thing, puts pressure on the ball. So the Raptors start their offense with 15 seconds, right? The first thing that I was taught playing off-ball defense is that you have to see the ball and your man. You're going to see Jaylen Brown attempt to do this a couple times. So you see that, right, he's looking back at the ball, looking back at RJ Barrett, but then he just loses his focus, right? He does it, Gritty Dick comes over there, RJ Barrett drifts to the corner, and Jaylen Brown loses him. He just literally just loses him. The Raptors have Gritty Dick coming off some Chicago action, so the pin down here and then the handoff, and Jaylen Brown's trying to look at ball and man as he's supposed to be doing, but he stops looking at RJ Barrett for a point in time, and he drifts to the corner and he hits a 3. And again, I just don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. So Brown goes for a pump fake. He gets off his feet. Tatum picks that up, right? And then Brown. This clip isn't even about Jaylen Brown. It's literally not about Jaylen Brown. But he just like gets off his feet. Then he doesn't know where the ball is. But why is Ochai open in the corner? Okay, so Drew Holiday here is checking Ochai. He goes for a backside steal, which is cool. Drew makes a lot of plays. He had a couple steals in this game, which is fine. Drew goes for a backside steal while Pirtle has his back turned to his man. Cool. Now, after he does this and Pirtle passes the ball, he should go back to his man. No. What are we doing? He goes for the steal and he just stays there. Ochai luckily misses the shot, but Drew just stayed in the same place. This is just inexcusable stuff from Jalen, bro. You clearly see Kristaps say, hey, let's switch. RJ Barrett's here. Chris Boucher's in the corner. I would rather check Chris Boucher. Makes sense, right? Jalen starts off jogging, and then he walks to RJ Barrett for the last 2 seconds. The play starts. So he did not run to RJ Barrett. The play starts. Kelly Olynyk sets the screen. Now, because he didn't run, he's behind. So now that forces Al Horford to have to guard RJ Barrett. They don't communicate this to say switch, and Kelly Olynyk gets an open three. Man, this game was kind of like if you and your partner, like if me and my girl was like giving each other the silent treatment, and we're just not talking to each other for a period of time. Grady Dick, right here, comes to set this flex screen for Scotty Barnes. He can either go this way or he can either go this way across the paint, right? Watch Al and Tatum. What are we doing, guys? What are we doing, bro? So, one, what's the game plan on these switches? Because every switch we've seen so far, they haven't been smooth, they've been botched. And two, why not just say something to each other? Communicate. Hey, Al, I got him. Al, take him. I'll stay up top, Jason. But what are we doing? Why are we talking to each other? That should never happen. This should never happen. Scotty Barnes is a great player. He's not a player we should be double teaming. Something I would give the Raptors a lot of credit for is that they played like the Celtics in this game from the perspective of the killer whale offense. They hunted Peyton Pritchard every time they got the mismatch of Peyton on one of their taller guys. They went to it, and the conversion rate was really high. This isn't one of the instances that I'm about to talk about, but there were a lot of times where the Celtics' lack of communication and the lack of effort made Peyton Pritchard switch onto a taller guy that could have been easily avoided. If the Celtics were to just hustle and communicate, there were a lot of times where the Raptors took advantage of Pritchard that shouldn't have happened in the first place. This time, again, it's not one of those instances. He's guarding Scotty Barnes from the jump, which, why? Tatum's guarding Ochai Agbaji, and Davion Mitchell's also on the court. So I'm not sure why he's taking the responsibility of Scotty Barnes, but maybe the Celtics just wanted the Raptors to attack that. Good job here. We finally got some communication. We got Horford taking Scotty Barnes and having Pritchard switching on to Jakob Poeltl. In theory and in real life, Scotty Barnes is a more dangerous offensive player than Jakob Poeltl. Now, against the Celtics, I don't know, because I remember Jakob had 30 and 10 against us, and in this game, he was damn near perfect. But nonetheless, I like that from Horford, right? Then, so, of course, we have Peyton Pritchard on Poeltl, which is a mismatch. He catches the ball, he's going to pass to Scotty to get deeper post-up position, and we got some more communication. Pritchard doesn't see Porzingis, but he does a scram switch, so obviously Porzingis said something to him. But he's in no man's land because him and Drew Holiday, this is Drew's job, okay? Peyton scram switches. He's trying to run to see who he's going to guard. RJ Barrett does a nice job cutting as soon as he sees this, but there's no backline communication. Pritchard is in no man's land. He doesn't know where to go. Drew Holiday is trying to shade between RJ Barrett and Davion, but he doesn't know that RJ Barrett has cut. Good pass by Jakob Poeltl, and they get a layup. And there was a whole lot of I thought you were energy on defense in this game. It was like, oh, I thought you were going over there, and then blah, blah, blah. So this is what I mean by I thought you were energy. So we're going to look at two players on this possession. We're going to look at Jason Tatum first, and then we're going to look at Al Horford. Horford, I'm not going to go too hard on Al Horford. He had 4 blocks in this game. He was a net positive. He was the only solid defensive player. I believe him and Luke, right? Drew was also okay. But yeah, so Tatum, right? He just played a lazy game. He swipes on Davion, but he doesn't actually swipe. He just puts his long arm there, but it forces a pass. What is this closeout? What is this closeout? He gets blown by. They switch it, and this is the I thought you were energy right here. But what are you doing? So I'm guessing he thought Pritchard because he jab stepped to Davion that Pritchard was going to go out there. He doesn't. Tatum doesn't just take initiative himself as the closer person. He hits a 3. Horford is on Bruce Brown. As you can see, he's trying to see the ball and man at the start of this possession. See, he's looking at Bruce Brown. He's looking at the ball, looking at Bruce Brown. But this is the second time that this has happened. When somebody drives, the Celtics lose their man that they're guarding. They're so focused on the drive that they aren't looking at the man that they're checking. And the Raptors killed us with simple player movement. They didn't do anything special. They cut when they were supposed to cut. They did dribble handoffs. They ran pick and rolls to perfection, but they didn't do anything special. They just moved themselves and the ball. Horford stopped seeing ball in man. He looks at the drive and not his man. He doesn't know where Bruce Brown is, and he's in the paint. Bruce Brown is on the other side of the court. Al Horford still has no idea, so he's searching for him. He finally finds him, but at that time, the ball's all the way through the hoop. And this was probably the most telling stretch in this game, right? The Celtics, they played their zone in the first quarter, and it was somewhat effective, right? They caused a turnover, but they caused the Raptors to take some uncharacteristic shots, right? I love this zone when they go to this zone look because it has man principles in it. And the man principle is when somebody gets right here, because to beat a zone, the best thing to do is get to the free throw line. Put somebody at the free throw line that you trust to make decisions for themselves and for their teammates. You can cook a zone defense if you do that. What the Celtics do is if somebody goes to the middle, they will just put somebody in the middle, and then there'll be one person in the middle, and there'll be 4 people looking like they're playing man on the outside. In these zone possessions in the third quarter, there's just hella pointing and no doing. Look at Sam Hauser. Pointing, hey, Pearl's going into the middle, hey. So Pritchard actually does something for 2 seconds, and him and Luke are he's looking at Luke like, hey, are you gonna get that? Are you gonna get that? Nobody ends up getting it, and he scores. And this was probably the worst one, bro. Just look at Al Horford this entire possession. So he has 2 right now. He's pointing to Bruce Brown. I'm pretty sure he's saying something. I don't think he's just pointing to nobody. There's nobody looking at Al Horford on the Celtics, but he's pointing. So I'm guessing he said something. I'm giving Al the benefit of the doubt, saying that he's saying something, right? He's pointing at Bruce Brown the entire time. Bruce Brown is wide open. He's still pointing at Bruce Brown. He has 2 men. He doesn't know what to do at this point. Bruce Brown is still open. He's still pointing at Bruce Brown. Luke finally checks him, but now it's too late. He's been open for 8 seconds and he scores. And this is something that I noticed in this game. The Celtics switching, as you've seen in the previous clips, was very bad in this game. There's no communication, nothing like that. But something that they will try to do when they're being lazy and they see that they didn't switch correctly is that they will just try to get a lane steal. So they don't communicate this. Again, what's the game plan? Why don't they know ahead of time what they're doing? That's 1. 2, you could just talk. Again, they're giving each other the silent treatment. I don't understand. But then the worst thing to me is the fake go for steal in the lane because you're out of position. They did this so many times, bro, where there was no communication. The switch was horrible. It was not a seamless switch. So they try to put their hands up in the passing lane, which, I mean, I guess I would rather you try to get a steal, but if you were in position, you wouldn't have to do that. And they give up a wide open layup. So here the Celtics don't match up. We have 3 Celtics to 2 Raptors. This should end well for us, right? We got the screen and roll. Both Derek White and Drew Holiday are checking Bruce Brown. Derek White finally realizes this, and now is in no man's land. Everybody's pointing, expecting somebody else to do something. Derek White and Jaylen Brown are confused in sync. And they don't say anything. They're pointing, expecting somebody else to do something instead of them just doing it. Derek White is not in place, and they give him another layup. All right, so here the Celtics are in zone again, and let's just pause, right? Take a look at this frame. Do you notice anything missing from this frame? There's 5 Celtics, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 4 Raptors, right? Where's the other Raptor? What the fuck are we doing? Do you remember that play where Horford was pointing at Bruce Brown the entire time? He's like, hey, Bruce Brown is here, but I have somebody in the corner. Can somebody please help me? Nobody realized that Chris Boucher was in the corner. Maybe they did, and they didn't care. Chris Boucher is on a heater this season. So I don't know why they wouldn't recognize Chris Boucher. That means Derek White has a reckless closeout, fly by. Now, because he had the reckless closeout, Kristaps Porzingis has a closeout. Now your best rebounder is out the paint, even though I still think you can get a rebound over Bruce Brown without Kristaps Porzingis. Celtics got out-rebounded by 10 in this game. They got out-hustled, and Bruce Brown draws a foul. And this is what I mean by simple actions. They did not run anything special. They ran a handoff with Jamal Shead and RJ Barrett, and there's confusion because they're giving each other silent treatment. What are we supposed to do in this situation? Have we not talked about this? Jaylen Brown confused on where he's supposed to be. They should not get an open 3 off of one simple handoff. It should not happen. Now, if Jaylen Brown wants to be on RJ Barrett and wants Peyton Pritchard to be on somebody that is more like his size, when they see this happening, Yale switch. They don't talk to each other. Jaylen Brown stays right there instead of going with Jamal Shead. I don't know who's in the wrong here, but it's not a seamless switch, and they don't say anything. Jamal Shead gets a wide open three. And at this point, the game is over. I understand there's a whole 5 out there about to check in. I get that. But this possession just encapsulates the Celtics defense in this game. You're going to see Tatum. Let's watch Tatum. Okay, this is number 1. Scottie runs through the paint. Tatum thinks they're switching. They're not. And loses Scottie for a second, right? Then Tatum does a lazy ass job trying to get over the screen. Ends up just switching because he didn't get over it. Kristaps Porzingis doesn't want Scottie Barnes to score, so they just switch it. Peyton Pritchard just falls on the most regular rip-through move I've ever seen in my life. And again, the Raptors, Tatum does a nice job protecting the rim, but then they don't rebound, and the game was over. But that is the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and share any and everyone you can. Just out there a little bit more, and I will see you guys in the next video. But this is Nick. Peace.